Happy 4th of July, Facebook. This video is going to be very quiet as it is very early in the morning. But here's my scepter all nice and finished. Over the course of the night, the crystal came undone 2 more times, and I had to rewrap the copper wire several times. But I finally was able to finish it and get it to dry. Not only is it finished and dried, but it's in there nice and level. Looking at the stick from the side angle, you can see a stick where the angle goes up at a diagonal cut, which means you're going to want the crystal to be more leaning towards the higher point of the stick. And I got this thing nice and level. This thing glows in the dark right here and here, and of course on the inside. Now, I'm not going to be making too many scepters for Etsy. This one right here is mine. The quartz crystal hole broke. The quartz crystal hole broke 4 times making it. And then the quartz crystal itself came undone 3 times. No bullshit. And I'm sitting here like, okay, you little stubborn bastard. This thing has been fighting me from day one. And I might have overreacted just a smidgen, but it's whatever, because the finished product always looks good. But speaking of wands, I have but 2 more to finish, and the 19th one's almost done. Now, my buddy Corey gave me some clear drying glue that he used to fix some glass. And he's like, here, use this, because I didn't have my Gorilla Glue on hand. And after I use that, and this fucker's in there solid as fuck, and it's in there as straight as I can get it. The crystal's not crooked. It is going to lean a little bit more towards the taller side of the curve of the cut. You know what I'm saying? That way it's nice and straight and level. Okay, now if I hold the crystal level with the camera lens, yep, straight line, there we go. Here's the thing, Facebook. There's a lot of glue that dried on the crystal. I used water, my fingernails, and my pocket knife to scrape most of it off. But sandpaper is going to work the best. That way the crystal's not all foggy with dried up glue. Actually, I've been polishing and now that it's dry and not going anywhere. And before entering the complex, this giant black bird flew over my head. It was either a big black raven or a big black hawk, one of the two. Although the beak was kind of long and skinny, and it was about the size of a black hawk, so yeah, it might have been a raven, to be honest. One of my spirit animals flies over my head the day I complete the scepter of mine. I mean, crows and ravens seem to like me, or they fly around me a lot. Which I think is kind of goth as fuck, but that's just, you know. And of course, I'll be changing into cleaner pants and showering and all that jazz later, but I got a couple of ones to finish. This one's practically done, but I'm going to take some sandpaper. I don't need sandpaper for the wands right now. The carving for the wands is done. It's just paint, punch, and glue and this and that. So they're going to be done literally quick. And basically I'm using a sheet of sandpaper to polish the crystal on the end of my scepter. Now you can see right here on the end of the crystal where if I go like that, you can see through to the other side. That's what it looked like before. I went like super OCD to get this fucking thing done. Yeah. I had to do a second layer of leather because of that little pokey bit right where the wrap started that protects my hand from getting poked. And then somehow this little loop right here formed in the handle by accident, which is fine by me because I can slip it onto my finger when I'm using it to like cast and shit. This took about, this took 20 feet of copper wire on the dot, which is about $4.70 some odd cents. And after all the bullshit I went through to make this thing, wand lore simply dictates. And I've already sold 2 scepters on Etsy. I might try shooting to sell for 2 staffs, which would be a lot taller. They're going to cost a lot more to make, so I'm going to charge a lot more for them. But here's the thing, Slick. I'm not going to be making crystalled wands for Etsy very often. These crystalled wands are not going to be made very often for Etsy because they're a lot more expensive and time consuming to make. And there are people who've been wanting wands for a minute, so getting a lot more handheld wands out there a lot more quickly. These bigger and more fancier wands are going to be a lot more exclusive, and for good reason. 1 second. Happy 4th of July. We live in a country where freedom of religion is celebrated, and my religion makes wands. It's a spiritual type of religion, if you will. And I don't go around shoving it in people's faces. Although people see me carrying this around, there's no mistaking what it is. It's a magic wand, plain and simple. I mean, you look at it, there's no mistaking what the fuck it is. Right here to here glows bright as fuck when it's charged with light. The scepter of mine is nicely balanced. Now this rough grit sandpaper isn't going to carve the crystal out. But what it's going to do is get all that dry glue off the crystal on the end here. So it'll polish it up real nice like. I tried using water in my pocket knife and my nails, that kind of worked, but sandpaper might be a bit more effective. I was kind of up all night watching this fucking thing dry. The normal sort of work I would put into several wands at once. We're going to win just one. And normally I wouldn't go OCD with one of my own wands like this, but I'm at a good spot with my batch of wands right now, so I wasn't too worried about it. lot of glue and podge and all that sort of thing. So I thought I had it in there, and then I took it with me when I got it in there after my last Facebook Live video, and it was in there crooked. So I pulled it out and got it on there nice and straight. And it's simple mathematics. If you want your crystal to be straight in your scepter or magic wand or staff, if you got an angled cut that's diagonal, you want the crystal to lean more towards the higher end of that cut. And you want the copper wire to wrap last. And don't be in a hurry to finish wands like this, Facebook. Wands like this take so much time to make. A lot of, and if you're taking your sweet ass time on it, it can take a couple days to make. More than 2 at that. 2 days minimum if you're spending all day doing it. Some of you may be wondering what kind of quartz this is. This is a garden shaman smoky quartz. It's a shaman garden smoky quartz. That's what they said at the magic shop when I got it. Or something like this. I paid a pretty good price for something like this. It was pretty fair considering this is real quartz. This isn't no glass fake shit. I mean, real quartz looks so much better on scepters and wands in general. That's just my personal opinion. Not that that matters much. This thing is fucking sick, yo. I would play the national anthem on the electric, but it's a little early for that. I mean, if I have enough strings for the acoustic to play the Spangled Banner, then I'll play it. Just in case I don't get to play it on the electric later. But I'll wait to play the guitar just a wee bit, even if it is acoustic. When people see the wands that I make, it's a testament to my craft and what I've done, producing holdable works of art. Now I have this scepter as a reminder to always use the vice clamp when making these. That was too close of a call for my left hand. That could have ended way worse than it did. I was extremely lucky. That healed up nicely. Righteous. Right off the bat, that quartz crystal looks 10,000 times more polished. I'll probably get the quartz with a finer sandpaper just to make sure that all that dry glue that was on there is off. I can always get more wand supplies when I sell this batch. That's not going to be a problem. The last three sold so quickly that this fourth batch being a lot bigger and the cheaper ones that look just as good as the bigger ones. You know. And the customer support is to the best of our ability, you know what I'm saying? There was just one fan who had a mild mix-up with the address, but we got that resolved and taken care of. And the person who wanted a wand should be getting it soon enough. But when these 20 wands go up, get them when you can, because these fuckers will go quick, and that's no bullshit. The first three batches of wands sold quickly. The first two only had 10. The third one had 13. And the fourth one's got 20 wands. And the second and third batch each had a crystal scepter. And even though those are a lot more expensive, those sold just as quickly as the rest of the batch. There's a little bit of excess dry glue more towards the bottom where it's more attached. That's understandable. But my main focus is going to be getting it off. I know it sounded horrible, but I'm being serious. Getting it polished up right here. The sandpaper is not strong enough to cut quartz. This is solid rock. This is merely gonna clean it up and make it look a lot nicer. It's one tedious extra step, but there you go. You see the sandpaper right there. It's got all that dry glue coming off onto it. As it loses its grit. This is going to require a lot of sanding, but it's totally worth it. Before I do that, I'll get some more sandpaper. And here's a wand going in the batch, the classic magician's style parlor wand. That one still needs to be finished, along with one other wand, and that's it. Now because 4th of July, check that shit out. That is awesome shit. Yeah. For a rough hand comparison. Thank you for all the positive feedback on the scepter. Greatly appreciated. I would have to agree with you on that. It is a nice quartz crystal. I mean, this is a cool shirt, but it's the 4th of July. I'm sure I got a patriotic shirt lying around somewhere. Holy shit balls. I found a parachute pants. Yes. No chains though. Because the chains are illegal because people gotta be assholes. Just like the fidget spinners, it only takes one person. Trip pant chains are cool, fidget spinners are cool, but if you misuse them and hurt somebody with them, that's not the product's fault. But instead of taking responsibility for our actions as human beings, Facebook, it's much easier to blame the devil for all of society's problems. We the people. That's sick. George Washington had the biggest pot farm in the nation. Declaration of Independence was drafted on him. There's one patriotic shirt. It's a bit more PC. Not that it matters for Facebook. So this is that. There's of course, there's this one right here. That's pretty sick. And then there's the infamous. I got this at Spencer's. And then I find a pair of these black and green trip pants just sitting in my dresser. I'm looking at them. They're not even tore up that bad, to be honest. There's no tears in the crotch or anything. Let's take the camera for a ticket. And to be fair, these jeans are covered in dry glue, so I'll step off camera for a second. This one, the crystal wouldn't fit in that damn scepter. I tried carving out some of the dry glue that I had in there. I might have put too much, and that helped immensely. Oh, sorry, yeah, I have a zipper. Fuck. That's why I'm holding on to them, because replacing the zipper is easy as shit to fix. All right. Same pair of jeans, just clean, not covered in. Right. Smell out of the pants, excellent. That's excellent. It's pretty smooth for the most part. It feels pretty smooth to the touch. It kind of streaks up a little bit right here, but it's pretty smooth for the most part. One second. So I washed the dust off from sanding it off with just a little bit of water. And that's pretty translucent. Is it perfect? No, but it's translucent. You can try wet sanding it and seeing if that'll remove more of that glue, which it should. See the harder grit stuff for I mean, there is going to be a natural sort of fogginess to it. You're going to see that, yes, but the surface itself is rather smooth, then it looks better. Because all that dust coming off of it right now is all that dry glue is being sanded off. And you can see that crystal is regaining its natural luster. If you're just joining me on Facebook Live, I'm working on my scepter, which is pretty much done. The only thing I'm doing right now is polishing the quartz. The sandpaper is a very light grit. It's so light that it's only going to take off any surface stains like dry glue straight off the quartz. It's not going to affect the shape of it or anything. The quartz crystal took like 3 tries to get in there just right. And the surrounding area around it took 4 tries to drill and cut. No bullshit. And this thing has been fighting me since day one, and now it's not going to win very easily. So I get the quartz crystal soaking wet, and then as the water dries onto it, you definitely feel a lot of that glue has come off since using sandpaper. Because everything else on the Scepter Facebook, it just works. Rocking my Ride On Freedom t-shirt today. Of the Statue of Liberty riding a flag-themed ape-hanger chopper. That's what's up. Now the glue around this is dry enough that I can give this quartz a wet sanding and get all the excess off right here. Basically the stuff I don't want on there. As the water dries and the excess glue comes off. I feel the edges around it are very smooth, like it originally was when I got it. And there's some residue coming off on it. Yes, this is definitely smoky quartz. This is a garden smoky quartz of the shaman variety. And I got a bunch of glue on it from getting it into the scepter, and now it's on their level and it's not going anywhere. Now I'm wet sanding the crystal to polish it. And it's like a little bit of, yeah, I got most of it. I got like 95 point. Okay, yeah, right down the side of it. And there we go. There we go. The quartz is nice and smooth. There's like a little bit of dry glue here and there, but it's not too much. That actually looks cool as fuck. You can see how nice and polished that is. Rightio, Facebook. I've got to start on painting the last wand in this batch, and I just put a bunch of podge on the 19th wand. Instead of using brushes to podge it, it'd be easier just to podge the wands by hand instead of wasting money on brushes that eventually get too much podge on them. Even if you wash them off, eventually they build up, and the podge is pretty easy to wash off your hands to begin with. It's just easier to do it by hand. I'm not gonna shave my goddamn head. Your comment gets deleted. That's your first warning. I tried shaving devil's horns into my widow's peak and I did not like it. But you see a lot of dudes with their hairs cut like this these days, doing different styles with it. And you can see a patch on the other side, definitely going in. It just looks weird as fuck. Instead of forming devil's horns, formed. They look like fucking goddamn cat ears. But that's the thing of it, is I can see hair growing in. Now that's alright, you were just making a suggestion. That's understandable. It's definitely looking a lot thicker than it did this time last year. That's no denying that. Now, if your ponytail holders snap, you can always tie it in a knot. That way, just on. People spend a couple bucks on these every so often. And you can reuse them a second time by tying them into a knot. If they snap after the second time, then it's too small. But it's small enough that you literally only need to put it on your hair once. I wasn't being rough while brushing my hair. I was merely getting the tangles out. You think I don't know this shit? You act like somebody with long hair doesn't know how to take care of their fucking long hair. I mean, shit. And sometimes those tangles are stuck pretty good, so you gotta really, as quickly as you can. Well, if I wanted to put it into a goddamn braid, this is what he's doing. Putting the hair into a braid would take. Well, I appreciate the help, thank you. Don't take offense if I come off as, well, hey, you know, God is just how I am. Think about braids, Facebook. If you don't get every last hair in your braid, then you're gonna have a loose hair from it. So they take a little while to get started, but once you get them started, you want 3 different sections of your hair. And you take the first section, wrap it around the middle section, and you take those two and keep them separate while they're wrapped together. And you pull that third section around the first section. And once you've done that, you basically repeat. And if it's a hot summer's day, this can be a great way to keep your hair long, but also keep it off the back of your neck. And once you get that first braid started, the rest of it gets a little bit easier, except towards the end when you start running out of canvas space. hair, whatever the fuck you want to call it. There's some people who might view it as cannabis. Some people might view it as hair, whatever the fuck. If you're styling it, hair is a personal expression. Hair should be a personal expression, really. And the Devil's Horn idea kind of worked, but not to the degree I was hoping. God damn it. And doing it by hand is much better than trying to do it with a machine or a curler. Ooh-wee. And I missed a couple strands anyway, god damn it. So sometimes you might have to redo it. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Not trying to be sexist, but this kind of thing comes more naturally to chicks. I'm just saying. I give up. I was gonna put my hair in a braid, but I give up. I fucking give up, Facebook. I give up. Screw it. It's pissing me off right now. I'm not gonna deal with it. A basic ponytail is so much fucking easier. Simple solution to that, Facebook, is to not let it upset you and just go with an easier option. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes going with an easier option ends up being a little bit more time saving and less stressful. That's alright. I ain't tripping out about it. I'm gonna fill this tobacco pipe up with some cigarette butt tobacco here. Look at me go. Sometimes in life it's never perfect or the way we imagine it, but at least if you try, then at least you can say you tried. Have I thought about dreads? Not really, no. Because they're a pain in the ass to get out. And then, of course, if a white boy dare has dreads or a white person dare put dreads in their fucking hair, there are these idiots who assume they're automatically trying to be racist. And it's like, okay, maybe they're doing it because they like dreads and they're not trying to be black. Maybe they're just doing it because they think dreads are cool. But there's some culturally oppressed asshole who's like, oh, you better check your privilege, white boy. Are you putting dreads in there? Trying to be corn from the 90s? What is this shit? And they just look at you like, it's like, dude, fuck you. Straight up. I mean, that's where our societies come to. You got actual racism existing and people who are more concerned about what hairstyle you're wearing. You minorities are being treated unfairly, and you're worried that someone's got a hairstyle. I mean, do you see what I'm getting at, Facebook? I mean, you stop and think for just one split second about the bigger picture. Some minorities getting oppressed because of their color of their skin, and someone else is just wearing a hairstyle. You know what I'm saying? Michelle Nola says, or Michael Nola, however you pronounce it, says, hey Josh, I'm glad the wand business is going well. Could you fry chicken sometime soon and film it? I could, yeah, but it's not gonna be anytime soon, but I could. As soon as those wands dry to a point, I can move on to the next step. I mean, I've done the last step on the 18th, or excuse me, the 19th wand. The last step on the 19th wand was to polish the entire thing. That's been done. But the 20th wand still needs to be retouched on the paint on the handle. And then it needs to have leather added to it. Glue added to the leather to keep it in place. and it needs to be punched. So they're not that far from being done. If the one business is going this well, then you might as well roll with it. Getting that one batch finished, but I'll check it back with you cool cobras in a bit.